Good evening, everyone, and welcome into Beyond the Box Score, our weekly program where we break down all the latest football action from the high school, college, and professional ranks here on Pulaski Citizen Live. I'm your host, Mark Mize, joined once again by my co-host, Chandler Harmon. Chandler, we both got a chance to go see Giles County at Community Region Action. Bobcats won in dominant fashion.
Absolutely, and what a great game it was for the Bobcats. It felt like they did a lot of things right. And seeing the JV squad, I think that going forward, they have a good team for the next few years too.
Definitely. And that's one thing you have to say about the last couple of weeks is Giles County has won so easily that maybe you're seeing some of the younger guys that are playing JV on Monday. They're playing a little JV on Friday night as well versus some region opponents. And so that really speaks to the depth and the strength that Giles County has. I feel like both teams are playing some of their best football right now.
Absolutely. We saw, some great plays, 2 interceptions for the Bobcats.
Yeah.
I think their defense is really clicking now. Offense, as usual, is just an amazing strength for them. Run game obviously being, the main highlight with some great passing plays. Amari Allen, 111 yards. Overall, just a very dominant and well-played performance for the Bobcats.
So Bobcats won that one 36-0 over Community. They're now 2-1 in region play. And then, of course, the Raiders were off on their bye week. They will be welcoming in non-region foe Summertown this week. So it should be a great week. Also have some great college football that we're going to talk about later in the program. And then talking a little bit about some firings, some notable firings we've seen both in the college and the professional ranks in our final segment today. But don't dare turn that dial, as we're going to be bringing you more action here on the Beyond the Box Score. With first up, it'll be Chris Bledsoe and Chandler Harmon talking some Giles County football.
When it comes to real estate, Haney Realty and Property Management is the team you can trust. Our extensive knowledge of the market and industry allows us to help our clients with any real estate need. We know how to get results. So whether you're looking to buy, sell, or rent, let us put our expertise to work for you. Call us today at 931-347-9150 or visit HaneyRealtyPem.com to learn more. Haney Realty and Property Management, your best friend in real estate.
This is Chandler Harmon here for the Giles County Bobcats segment here on Beyond the Box Score. And joining me tonight is Chris. How you doing, man?
Man, just super excited as always. Love to get a chance to come by here and get a chance to chat with you about Bobcat football. It's a lot easier talking to you on the days that the Cats had a win on Friday. So I look forward to those, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Bobcats get a huge win against Community. Given, we kind of expected that kind of going in. Community, unfortunately has become a bit of a give-me game for the Bobcats and for other teams. But overall, what did you see from the Bobcats in that matchup?
And again, I think you're right. Community is on probably one of the worst losing streaks statewide. I think last week made 19 in a row. So they're not a very good football team. I think they know that coming into it. But although with that, you still have to go over there and play football. To win a high school football game every Friday night or any Friday night, it's a hard task, regardless of who you're playing. And so you still have to go over there and take care of business, do the things that you're supposed to do to be successful. I thought for the most part, the Bobcats played as well as they probably could have with the circumstances for, 2 quarters. And then even in the second half, we had a running clock to start the second half, saw some of the baby Bobcats, if you will. And so they got a chance to get on the field. I thought they even played well in that ball game. So the offensive team did a great job. Defense did a really good job. Special teams even played really well. So again, it was just a collective effort. It was what high school football is supposed to look like. And I think if nothing else, you take away from the fact of that ball game is, guys, when we have all 3 phases that play well together, we have a chance to be, really competitive going down the stretch of this season. And I think that's probably the only takeaway. You're not going to see too much because Community just had much to offer, so not a lot of film stuff you're going to take. But as a whole, as a unit, when we play together like that, we have a chance to be really good, and let's continue to build on that as we get into the tougher part of our schedule.
Absolutely. And obviously, Bobcats, again, a little short-staffed on the running game with Buckner leaving the field, obviously with a little bit of injury. Hopefully not a long-term one. I haven't heard if it's a long-term injury. But, once again, Collier takes the brunt of the rushes and does really well with the ball. 3 touchdowns total, 1 receiving. Bobcats seem to continue to just absolutely dominate as far as the run game goes and passing game.
Yeah, they've been really, really effective. passing the ball. X Randolph goes 11 for 12, almost 200 yards in the air Friday night. Does a good job of just finding guys, multiple guys at that, and hitting guys in stride, making the plays he needs to make, especially rolling out of the pocket. He's good as anybody in the state, in my opinion, being in the pocket, making the throws, but then he gets really, really exceptional outside of the pocket. He's starting to find more confidence in himself, more confidence in his wide receivers, and him and the wide receiving core are doing a better job now of reading each other, working together, finding those gaps in the defenses, especially when plays break down. I think we see how good he can really be. So I think that's been impressive. Collier obviously speaks for itself. What he's been able to do since the moment he returned has just been phenomenal. Defensively, offensively, he's been really, really, really good. And so kudos to him and those guys, what they were able to do. It all begins and ends though with the big uglies up front. Those guys do such a terrific job each and every week. And I said this 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and then last week. I've been saying it all season long. You could literally put anybody back there behind the offensive line that we have here at Giles County, and you're going to find some success running the football. I think for finally that fact was proven Friday night as Tristan Houston comes in, plays only the last 2 quarters of the ball game, nearly clips the 100-yard mark, 11 touches, 94 yards rushing, really fits the mold. He's a different type of runner than Pearson Collier. He's a more physical back. When he trots on the field, I thought it was Jerome Bettis. I looked at my partner, JP, and I was like, I don't know who that is, but it looks like the bus out there. I mean, he's just a hard runner, hard guy to bring down. And I think as the season continues with some of the injuries we've seen so far, don't be surprised if that's not the last Tristan Houston performance that we get a chance to see. I told JP on the radio, I said, I think he's auditioning for some first-team reps, here. And so a guy that can tote it like that behind this offensive line, maybe you allow him to kind of spell out Pearson so that you're not, exhausting him on every side of the ball, because right now he's playing – Pearson Collier's playing special teams, defense, and offense. And so if you can find a tailback you can put back there, a couple of drives to keep his legs fresh, I say go for it. Hopefully by playoff time and toward the end of the season we get some of those injured Bobcats back and we can be at full strength.
Absolutely. And speaking on that, we could see him, here soon if Buckner's injuries, a longer duration. We still have Bridges back. We're down some people. Yeah. And one thing to note, while Bobcats were out there, JV, they were playing, the starters for community, and he looked really good. And it gives me a lot of hope for this Bobcat team, years from now. I think we've got a good roster overall.
Yeah, I think so. I think you've got a lot to be excited about for the Bobcat future, but not to take away from what the future looks like, but we have to, focus in the moment and in the present. And I still think this is a team that, although with a 4-3 record, there's not anybody, in my humble opinion, in all of 3A that wants to see Giles County first, second, third round of the playoffs. Again, they're a scary football team because we've yet to have a game where we kind of have it all working. We have all of our pieces all healthy, all those things. And so, again, I think if that happens, they can be a scary team for anybody to play, especially if you have to come to Giles County and play in the Brickyard. It could be, scary. So I think Tristan's a guy you're going to see get some touches even this week over Jackson Northside. The Bobcat travel this weekend. So I think he'll get some touches there. Not really sure on the situation with Buckner. I know it was a lower leg situation, so hopefully we're able to get him back. It would be nice to have him. He's been such an asset to the Bobcat team this season, especially in the run game, but even defensively. So getting him back would be huge, and hopefully that happens with the Bobcats.
Absolutely. And last thing before we go into the break and hear from the coaches, I want to hear your thoughts on Damari Allen. An amazing performance, over 100 yards receiving. Him and Randolph have really found their connection and their stride, I think.
Damari Allen, each and every week, he becomes more and more of like this freakish athlete. Like you think you've seen him at top speed the week before, and then he hits another gear this week, and it's like, where's the ceiling for this kid? Because he just keeps growing in his performances, but also physically. Like he's getting taller, he's getting stronger, he's getting bigger, and he's going to be a tough guard for any cornerback that's out there. And so I think he's somebody that's going to be dangerous for the Bobcats. And he had another monster performance that night. But X Randolph again does such a good job of putting balls in places where it's hard not to go catch it. Like it's really difficult, and he does that. And you can see the trust between those two. There's a couple times I think X threw a couple of balls, and I I'm thinking, I don't know if I like you throwing that, but you can tell I trust the guy I'm throwing it to, and Damari understands that X has that type of trust in him, so he goes and he gets the ball, and so he does a good job with that. He gets better and better every week. He's a kid that's a young sophomore, so he's got 2 more seasons in a Bobcat uniform. This quarterback connection, X will be back. He's just a junior, so that's exciting. But another guy that I thought had a decent outing at wide receiver, we only saw probably 2 snaps there, but had 2 decent catches, and that was Jack Reese. Spidey, as he's known to most of the people, Bobcat faithful, did a really, really good job. And he talking about looking the part of the wide receiver. He's 6'4", 6'5", and 78% legs. You know what I'm saying? Like the other 18% is arms, and so he's great, man. Like he fits the mold, fits the part. And I think what gives him an edge at that wide receiver spot is because he started at corner the last 2 years, he knows exactly what tails and what the guy on the other side of the ball is looking for. So he knows what to give you to make you think I'm going post or make you think I'm going, curl or whatever. He knows what to show you. So he has an added advantage, I think, in that regard. So, again, this Bobcat offense continues to grow, and David O'Connor keeps rolling out little wrinkles that we haven't seen all year, and I think we're going to see more and more of that as this season continues.
Absolutely. Well, real quick, Chris, we're going to take a timeout and hear from Coach O'Connor, quarterback Xavier Randolph, Pearson Collier, and Cooper White, and then me and you will talk about upcoming matchup against Jackson Northside. So we're going to take a quick timeout here on Beyond the Box Score.
Gas Department of Pulaski is here to help you save money. Natural gas is safe, efficient, and cost-effective. It's up to 50 to 60% less expensive than electricity for home heating. Plus, it's clean and efficient, so you can feel good about your choice. Call us today for service or visit our website to learn more. Make the switch to natural gas and start saving today.
So, Coach O'Connor, big win tonight for the Bobcats, shutout. What were some good things you saw from the offense tonight?
I thought we did a lot of good things, both offensively and defensively, and most important, we took care of the football. In a game like this, you got to come out, you got to take care of the football. You got to get after the ball. And I thought we did a pretty good job of that on both sides of the ball. Probably need to hold our composure a little bit and show a little more effort late in the game. I felt like we were up. I think we did do a little better in those jobs with the young guys because in 1 year we're going to be dependent on those guys.
Absolutely, and obviously Bobcats get 2 interceptions. Talk to me a little bit about those defensive plays and how the scheming with that came along.
That was just two guys making really good plays. I know Little Mac does a really good job at safety. Moved him back over there a couple of weeks ago, and he's doing a really good job. And Cooper White breaking on the ball is just 2 good breaks. That's just 2 guys using instincts.
Absolutely. And last question, pretty far road game next week against Jackson Northside. What are some things you are going to get ready for this week to help with that?
We got to get better. They're going to play with a lot of speed and a lot of effort. We got to be able to match that effort and contain that speed.
So Cooper, obviously, big interception for you tonight. Talk to me a little bit about overall the defense and that big interception you got.
It's just a big part. We're strong up front. I feel like we're even better on our secondary. We got fast people, even athletic. Him right there. That's not Spotty. Number 3, Spotty. He's pretty good as well. Me and him lock it down. We try to at least.
Absolutely. And going forward, Jackson Northside. What are some things you're going to do as you get ready for that matchup?
We're gonna keep effort up. That's what we're worried about. They're athletic. They got a bunch of. I heard one D1 guy and a bunch of other athletic people. We're gonna work on being fast and keeping up with it.
I'm going to start with this. Congratulations, Main Street Media Southern Middle Tennessee Player of the Week for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. Tonight another big performance for you. 3 touchdowns, total 1 in the air, 2 rushing.
Yes,
How does it feel tonight?
It feels amazing. I don't want to sound arrogant, but this isn't a team that I'm really proud to do that against. I want to do it against bigger and better teams, and I'm planning on doing that next week.
Right, absolutely. Talking about that, far road trip, what are some things you're going to do to make sure, you go in there with all the energy you need?
Gonna get a good night's rest, eat my veggies, and listen to my mom.
Absolutely. So Xavier, big night for you too. If I'm correct, I believe no incompletions tonight. First time in a while I've seen a Bobcats quarterback have a perfect passing night. Talk to me a little bit about, what does it take on the field to be composed and to make those completions?
Sorry to break it to you. I had one incompletion. But you just got to have confidence in your line and trust yourself, really, and just be composed and just know your reads, go through your simple reads, take the easy gifts that they give you.
Absolutely. Big play through the air, 64 yards, I believe. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, really, it was just all set up perfectly. All the movement, I think, got him out of position. I look up, and Damari Allen's up wide open, so it's a big play.
Absolutely. Next week, what are some things you're going to do? Be ready for that long road game against Jackson Northside.
Probably eat pretty good, and then get some good night sleep each night, and just go to practice ready to work.
And we're back. And joining me once again is Chris for this week's preview. Chris, obviously a pretty long road game for the Bobcats, 2+ hours over to Jackson Northside. What are some things that you're excited to see with this big matchup for the Bobcats?
I think it's going to be a good test to see where the Cats are health-wise, and then can we build on the little mini win streak that we've developed. Had a big win against Lincoln County. You got another one, and then now can you put another one, with that, and so continue trending onward and upward in the right direction. I think that's something that they can do. Again, you got Lincoln County, you had Cascade, then you had Community. Now can win your 4th in a row here and improve to 5-3? I think it's something that's very possible. We just have to go out there and take care of business and be very business-minded. It gives you an opportunity to kind of prepare for what playoffs look like, some of the long road trips that you have, if you're not able to finish, in that first place spot. So that's something that could be a situation going down the stretch, early November. So I think it's a good opportunity for the Cats to go over here and, again, build on what you've been doing and hopefully get healthier for the last 2 games of the season.
And obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the furthest road game for the Bobcats this season against a pretty good team. This is one of those matchups, I think if you win this, truthfully, obviously I think we're already at a point that, you can win any matchup. But, I mean, really this is the last extremely tough just for that road distance and playing a good team. So, obviously Bobcats win this, they're going to have, they're going to play at home the week after, and then, you're getting ready to close out your season. And hopefully – depending on Watertown, you could be the number 1 seed in your district. So.
Yeah, I think that's very possible that you could be sitting in a really, really nice position at that point, depending on what happens with Watertown. Obviously, I think they already have 1 district loss already, so 1 region loss rather. You need another one of those for them to be in good spot. And to be in a perfect world, they lose out, and then that way, if you're Giles County, you're still looking at being in that 1 or 2 spot, because that would only leave the Bobcats with 2 region losses if they don't win. The Cats don't win out this season. So, but again, all that will take care of itself. You got to focus on what's happening in front of you, which is Friday night. You want to go over to Jackson. You want to play at a high level to keep building that momentum. You want to take care of your bodies, take care of yourself, so you don't lose any more bodies, lose any more guys, because we just can't afford it at this point in the season. And then, like I said, hopefully some of those guys that have been banged up, you get a chance to get them back out there on the field. One of those that we saw this week was Jet Vanderpool. Played in that second half. He's a kid that I think adds another body, another athlete to this Bobcat team who we haven't seen all season. He got hurt in an Ensworth scrimmage. We just hadn't seen him. So getting him back was good. Getting him some reps last week I think is good. We'll see some more of him, I do believe. And then hopefully we start to trickle in some of those other guys, getting them back healthy so that they can come out here and perform at a high level, and then put us in a position to, like I said, make a deep run, because you've got this week at Jackson, and then potentially, it's crazy to say this, but this could literally be your last road game of the season if the chips fall the way that they need to. And it starts with the Cats taking care of business. You win these, you go win the 24th at home, you win the 31st at home, you get some help from somebody else in the region, and Watertown has another loss. You control your own destiny. You'll be at the Brickyard until it's time to go to the next road game, potentially could be playing for the gold ball.
Absolutely, and that'd be great for the Bobcats. They're a team that's done well on the road, but nothing beats playing at home. Obviously, Bobcats faithful have been a great decider for the games this season. We've seen that's gotten the opposing teams off balance and making some mistakes. So that'd be great for the Bobcats. And obviously, the most important thing is getting guys healthy again. We've lost a few players. Hopefully, not to jinx anyone.
There you go.
Hopefully, we play a healthy game. We don't see anyone go down. May see some people returning. We're still waiting on Bridges to come back. We know Hannah's out still for a few weeks. But the more I think that we get players back, as Coach O'Connor said earlier this season, they're a special team, and we have not seen all the players together, and that's what has made them so special. I think we saw maybe like 1 or 2 scrimmages, everyone together. So it's something to look forward to. I think that come playoff time, they're just going to be rocking and rolling.
Yeah, I think it could very well be the case. It's just you've got to, again, take care of yourself, take care of your body. A lot of that starts, even before the game starts, and how we prepare and exercise and stretch and how you put yourself in position. So I think they'll do that and then go over here Friday night. It's going to be a fun atmosphere, I do believe. Two teams that I don't think have ever played each other on the football side. So I think that'll be fun. It'll be a good road trip. It's always good to get on the road and go travel. Me and JP Plant will be broadcasting live on Friday night. We'll have video streaming for all of our listeners, so tune in if you get an opportunity. Don't want to make that drive over to Jackson, don't worry. KSR's got you covered. Me and JP will be there live and in color. There will be video feed as well as audio, so we look forward to that. And then, like I said, the next 2 weeks, the next 3 weeks, you want to take care of business. And I know going on the road, the Cats have done fairly well. However, selfishly, again, I repeat, selfishly, folks, I don't want to leave the Brickyard. I don't know if you've been to the press box over there in Giles County, but there's not a better one in the state for high school football, bar none. And so being able to broadcast there and, be in the cozy confines of the Brickyard, the Bobcat faithful get a chance to show up. It's just nothing beats high school playoff football at the Brickyard. So again, it's starting to get exciting now. The temperature's dropping, Chandler. It was a little chilly this morning when I went out and headed to the gym. And so, like I said, just little things like that is starting to make you realize we're getting closer and closer to that football playoff time of the year.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick time out, and then we're going to hear from one of the assistant principals at Giles County High School here on Beyond the Box Score.
This is Chandler Harmon, and joining me today is Assistant Principal Miss Harper. Miss Harper, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. So obviously last week, fall break. So what are some things this week that you are doing to get back in a rhythm after that break?
Well, the week before fall break is a pretty busy week for us. We gave the ACT test to all the seniors. We had the ASVAB for the juniors. And then, of course, all our freshmen and sophomores took the practice ACT, gearing up for their future test. Rolling in to fall break, had a couple field trips, career fairs for the upperclassmen. After the little break, we just come back here on Monday morning raring to go. A couple of our fall sports ended during fall break. Football's still cranking. They have an away game this week. But, we just fall right back into routine and right back into schedule, coming off fall break, and it usually flows pretty smoothly.
Absolutely. And then talking a little bit about this school week, what are some exciting things going on this week in the school system?
I think the main thing is everybody's gearing up. Homecoming week is next week. So, teachers are trying to get the kids back in their routines. Everybody's a little tired coming off of fall break. We don't have our routines, waking up, going to bed. It's usually a pretty calm and quiet week, but gearing up for homecoming. So there's a lot of things, getting ready for that.
Absolutely. And you talked a little bit about sports. Obviously the Bobcats go on a pretty far road game this week. What are some of the things you're hearing from the students as they get ready for that road game?
They're excited. Football, any season's exciting, but football time especially is, especially in the South. So, just gearing up, getting ready to depart for that. There's a lot of things that they've got to get done. Early departure from school, making sure they've got all their things ready, academics. But they seem pretty excited about it.
Absolutely. And I always like to end with the chance to just kind of talk about something that I didn't ask about. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, we're rolling into the second 9 weeks of school. Christmas break will be here before we know it. The kids are gearing up. At the end of the semester, we get ready for end-of-course testing and finals and Thanksgiving break. So things start flying pretty quickly at this point in the year. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes, but at this point things are pretty settled and teachers are rocking in the classroom. We've got some fabulous teachers in this building, really giving some great education to our students, and we got some really good students in this building too. Some really good, smart kids, some athletic kids, and we really like to see them excel.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
For over 50 years, PES Energize has been proudly powering our community in Pulaski and Giles County, Tennessee. We're more than just an electric utility. We also offer internet and phone services. Our commitment to our customers and our community is what sets us apart. We're dedicated to providing safe, reliable, and innovative services. At PES Energize, we believe that serving you is a privilege. We're here for all your energy needs. Visit PESenergize.com or call us today.
And we're back here for our Richland segment on Beyond the Box Score. I'm your host, Mark Mize, joined once again this week by Jennifer Hawkins. Jennifer, we had a week off from football. You had a week off from school. How are you feeling?
refreshed and ready to go. That's what I'm supposed to say, right? So no, we had a great fall break, but it's always great to come back and see my kids and hear their experiences. So ready to get back at it, and here we go. Ready
Absolutely.
or not?
Well, yeah, as I was
Yeah.
saying, the same thing can be said for the football team. So, of course, they had a bye week, their one bye week of the regular season, and now will be playing their final non-region game and their final home game of the regular season versus Summertown this Friday. So I thought it was interesting when you were interviewing the kids after the game versus Cornersville, they had mentioned the fact that even though they'd be doing voluntary workouts, there would be no practice during fall break. So now that you've had a chance to talk to the guys, now that they're back in the classroom, just what was the feel from them about getting a chance to have a little break from football?
Well, a couple of them mentioned they felt like it really truly was the best thing that could happen for them, because they said they came back kind of refreshed and ready to go. And they said they've had a really great set of practices leading up to, of course, we're recording this on Wednesday.
Right.
And so they've had a few days back, and they said they're focused. I think it gave them a chance to kind of re-energize, have some family time, have a break from not just school, but from voluntary workouts, and some said we had plans, and so I didn't get to make all of them, but that's okay. They came back really focused, but they're ready to get back to it as well. So they're excited about the game Friday night and kind of get back into routine. But I think it was just a good break, not just for the school building, but for the football players. A lot of them are fighting minor injuries here and there, so it gives them a time to recuperate, get some healing in process. And so I think that's going to be good for the team moving forward as well.
Right, and all-region defensive end Cam McNeese, I believe, is the only one who is expected to be out. Of course, he's out for the rest of the season. But several different guys, like you said, were kind of banged up, but I think we're expecting everyone to play, as far as I've heard, correct?
As far as I know, there's not been any injuries that anybody has. I haven't seen any walking boots or crutches or anything like that from the football team. And usually I do kind of find that out if somebody has gotten a little banged up during practice, but I haven't heard any of those mentions. And we talk about all the time, when you're in a football season, a lot of times you can have a really good team, but injuries can be one of those game changers. And so being healthy coming off of this bye week, I think it came just at the right time, about halfway through the season, so that moving forward should be good to go.
And this Friday, they'll be playing former region rival Summertown. Summertown now a AA team, whereas Richland is a Class A team. And so last year was really probably one of the most competitive games of the year. Richland, I think, was the better team, but ended up losing at home in a overtime game in which Richland committed a season-high 5 turnovers and still took Summertown to overtime. Kind of feels like the guys might want a little revenge after losing in that fashion last year.
Yeah, they say, in a sports season, you're supposed to have a short memory, but that one stung. I know for these guys, they walked away knowing they didn't play their best football, still had a shot to win that game, came down to the wire. You got to clean it up. I mean, it's hard to walk away with a win after 5 turnovers, but they still had a shot at it, and I know that one stung. And so, yeah, your upperclassmen, they still remember that. You got to kind of put it behind you, but there's a little bit of that sting that's going to come into play. And I think that's maybe why they're a little more locked in and focused for this week, to move forward and get a little bit of that taste of revenge against Summertown. And though it's not a regional matchup, it's still kind of a little bit of a friendly, not so friendly rivalry type situation. And so I think the Raiders are going to put their best foot forward. They've been playing some really incredible football. I think we're starting to really see it kind of coalesce and come together at the right time. And so here we go again. What are they going to bring us in front of the hometown crowd? That's going to be a special night, I think, Friday.
Summertown has some significant injuries on their team from the parents that I've talked to over there, but they had a really big blowout victory over rival Loretto. Of course, as many will know around this area, Loretto is down a bit this year. But after that 51-0 loss to Lewis County for Summertown, I was kind of thinking, where is this team? Are the injuries going to bring them down? After such a convincing win over Loretto, this is still a very dangerous Eagles team.
They are. It's one of those that, week in, week out on the schedule, you think, okay, we should win this game, but you just never know. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. One play can turn a momentum. It can turn the game around. things can just happen on the field. People get in their own heads. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you have to consider. There's so many variables, and it's exactly what we've said before. It's why you play the game.
Yeah.
You don't just look at it on paper and go, well, on paper, this team's better. We see it all the time in college football, professional football, and you get these surprises. But that's what makes football on any type of sport really exciting and fun, is because of those upsets, or people walk away going, wow, I didn't expect that to happen at all. That was a shock. That's what keeps people coming back and enjoying the game. And so Friday night should be another one of those. You can never count out Summertown at all, even with the injuries, even with what's going on with, they've got a couple of key players down. And I believe Richland is going to be the favored team, especially being at home.
I would agree.
But you just never know. You've got to still always put your best football in front of your crowd, and then play off it. Clean football. That's what Coach Patterson keeps keying in on. Let's clean up this football, eliminate turnovers, and just make your mark known. The defense has been something spectacular the last several weeks, putting a lot of pressure on teams. And then the offense is really starting to gel and just make some incredible moves and plays. And I like the play call that they come up with something different. We think that it's going to be a pass play, and then they run it something different, or vice versa. So it keeps us guessing too, when we're commentating and stuff on Friday nights. But it's been a lot of fun to watch this team really grow up. I think since game one into where they are now, they're really becoming a different team and evolving as they go, which is what is supposed to happen.
Raiders 2-1 in region play. They've given up only 28 total points in those 3 region contests. And so honestly, they're looking like they're rounding into their best form of the season right now. Interesting too, because even though this is a non-region game this Friday night, there is some serious region action that's going to be taking place. Fayetteville City, of course, defeated Huntland to give Huntland the first loss of the year. And that actually means now that there are 4 teams in this region that have 1 loss or less, as it's Fayetteville City undefeated, and then 1 loss each for Huntland, Richland, and Eagleville as well.
Right.
This Friday night, Eagleville will be playing at Huntland. And so that is huge. I know that, the coaches and players will always say, we're never scoreboard watching, but we as fans and commentators, we are.
We are.
And if Huntland loses that game, then that basically means the Richland versus Fayetteville City game will be winner take all for the region championship, effectively. And so Richland really, with 1 more loss from Huntland, suddenly the Raiders are thinking about, hey, versus Fayetteville City, we truly control our own destiny. And that would be huge in a region that we already know which 4 teams are going to the playoffs, because Cornersville and Moore County have already been eliminated, which is crazy to say this early in the season. There's 3 weeks to go.
Right.
So we know our 4 playoff teams, but the order literally could be 1 to 4. Any of these teams still mathematically could win the region championship.
Yeah, there's still a lot of football left to play to kind of figure out where the seeding is going to end up. And you want to win that championship. There's just something about that, especially this group of seniors. They've played a lot of football together for Richland. I think it would be nice for them to finish out their time at Richland as the champions come out on top. But do you need a little help from other teams? Absolutely. Do you have to do your work and do your task? Absolutely. So there's so much that's still up in the air. This week, even though it's not a region game, I think it's going to be a good test to see where we kind of are as we come off the bye week. Hey, how focused really are these guys? But they really, just in talking with some of them today, you could see kind of that gleam in their eye. They were ready to get back to it, and they really say they've had some good practices this week. And then that helps. I think it's great to have a non-region game this week too, before you go back into some region action. I mean, just the way the schedule laid out this year really kind of plays in Richland's favor, I think.
Yeah, and one final note is, I think the biggest thing for me about why it's so important, maybe even more important than last year, to win the region championship is, if you win the region championship, the 3rd round of the playoffs, the quarterfinals, because it's this region's season to host, McKenzie has to come to you.
Right.
Now, if you catch them in the 2nd round because you finished 2nd over here and they finished 1st over there, you're headed to McKenzie. Yeah. And so winning the region championship means that when it is time to meet McKenzie, they have to come to Linville. And I think that's a spot you would much, much rather be in.
Linville, we're calling Winville because it's been good for us at home so far. So that's what we're expecting again Friday night, to get another check in that win column. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's things, and that's down the road. And if you talk to the guys and the coaches, but and they say they don't look at that stuff, but it's in there. It's rolling around the back of their mind, and especially with us kind of asking those questions and stuff. But yeah, you want to kind of plan for, and like I said, it's just there's something to celebrate if you win a regional championship. That's just a fun memory that you get to take with you, and nobody can take that away. And so that's one of those that you may have to have a little help. But that Fayetteville-Richland matchup coming up in a few weeks, that's going to be a fun one for us to get to call. Even though it's in Fayetteville City, I think there's going to be a big crowd that's going to follow.
Right.
I think Raider Nation will show up loud and proud because they know that's going to be a big game that night.
Absolutely. So this week it will be Richland hosting Summertown. I believe it's senior night, correct?
As far as I know, it is, yes, unless things change, but yes, that's what it's scheduled so far.
Jennifer and I will be on the call on WKSR, and Landon Hawkins, Jennifer's son, will be our photographer. So remember that you can catch the game on the radio. We will not be on the stream. We'll be on the radio this time. And then also you can read our stories and check out the photography on PulaskiCitizen.com and in the print edition of the Pulaski Citizen newspaper. But we're going to take a quick time out, and then we'll hear as Jennifer had a chance to interview some of the fine folks at Richland High School.
For a new job, let M&M Staffing be your guide. With over 20 years of experience, we know how to connect great people with great opportunities. We work with over 80 companies, so we're sure to find the perfect job for you. Our team is dedicated to helping you succeed, and our high customer satisfaction rate proves it. Ready to get started? Visit us at mnmstaffing.net or give us a call today at 931-347-4255. When it comes to insurance, Winterburr & Associates Insurance is the team you can trust. We offer coverage for your home, auto, business, and more. We work hard to find the best policy for you at the best price. Our personalized service means we take the time to understand your needs and make sure you understand your options. We want you to feel confident and secure with your insurance policy. Let us make insurance simple for you. Get a quote today at winterburrinsurance.com or call us at 931-363-8638.
Greetings, Raider Nation, and welcome back to All Things Richland. I'm Jennifer Hawkins, and today we have a very special guest joining us, Emily Kirkpatrick. And Emily teaches over on the 7th grade hallway. Bless your soul.
Thank
I hear
you.
middle school students are fun.
Definitely fun.
Yeah, definitely cut out for that. But she's a great teacher here in our building. But she's going to get to share with us a special opportunity that's coming up for our students and family members if they choose to attend. She's our little travel lady around here at Richland. And so you have an opportunity coming up if folks want to join in. Yes. So why don't you tell us about this upcoming travel abroad?
Okay, so this will be the 4th trip that I'm leading with EF Tours. And we've actually done this several years in our school. We've had a few different teachers who have done these trips, and so I'm kind of the caretaker of them right now. But for spring break, we're going to Spain, and our tour is actually called A Taste of Spain. So we're going to be hitting up all the food spots and lots of culinary experience for Spain.
Great. I would love to join that. You already got my vote. Clear my calendar.
Very good. So I'll share with you a little bit of the itinerary that we're going to do. We're going to fly into Madrid, and we will do a churro tasting. So they, of course, are fried little pieces of dough and
pieces of heaven, right?
Yes, for sure. And they're dipped into what they call hot chocolate, but it's not like typical hot chocolate for us. It is very thick and rich. Basically, just looks like melted chocolate, and so it's delicious. So we're going to have a churro tour right off the bat. We're going to have a local guide to take us around and kind of show us all around Madrid, talking about the history and everything that's there. Also take us on a food tour while we're traveling to those different places. So that's really exciting. We're going to a food market that is 3 stories.
Oh, wow.
So it's an open market. People bring all kinds of foods. It's a great way to experience all kinds of different culinary delights for sure. And then we're going to a cheese farm. So we get to do a little tasting.
Nice.
I tried to kind of advertise this a little bit to our agricultural students because we're going to a few farms and things like that to see how the food gets from farm to table.
Nice. Well, I don't know. You're making me hungry if nothing else. So it sounds like a fun trip that where you're going to get to experience a lot of different cultural food.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Also, while we're there, we're going to, I think, one of my favorite little towns called Toledo. Okay. And I actually spent my training tour in Spain. And so we went to Toledo, and it is the most magical little medieval town. There's a castle up on the hill, and there's a river that flows through. And we actually get to learn about some of the things that I teach in my class. So that's really exciting too. But one of my favorite cities that I've ever been to, for sure.
Sounds like a storybook that you just come back and share with your kids.
Absolutely,
too, right?
yes, we're going on a tapas tour and having a cooking class.
Nice.
So not sure how much experience I'll get, but
Well, I tell you what, when you come back, we could be the judge of that. We want you to cook for us. You can put that experience. I'll be happy to test it out for you. So.
Not much of a cook, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then kind of we'll finish out in the Costa del Sol region, and we're going to centuries-old olive and almond farms.
Nice.
And so we're going to kind of experience that part. And we're also getting invited to a lot of the little grandmothers' homes, the abuelas, and they're going to invite us into their homes and cook a meal for us.
Oh,
so I'm really excited about that.
That'll be top notch.
Yes.
I mean, you can't beat that.
Yes,
right.
for sure.
Nice. So if folks are more interested or have further questions, how can they contact you, or how do they get more information?
Okay, so the best way to contact me is through my email, which is ekirkpatrick@gcboe.us.
Okay.
If you can't remember that, you can always just call the school and be like, hey, I want to talk to that travel lady, and they'll get me a message and I can, call you back.
They'll know who that is, promise. They know exactly who that is.
For sure. We do have a quick deadline coming up. So we've been planning this trip for over a year. So we will stop taking any kind of travelers by November 24th. Okay. So if that doesn't fit into people's itineraries here for spring break, we have another trip planned. We're already in the planning stages for 2027, and so we haven't announced our itinerary yet, but we're getting things finalized to do that.
Nice.
So if this spring doesn't work for people, they need to definitely be paying attention, watching social media, things like that, for our announcement for our 2027 trip.
Okay, so you've got a little over a month if this trip kind of tickles your fancy and you want to make it work out, but if not, you've got other plans coming up in the near future. So lots of options out there from the travel lady. So with all your travels, because you've gotten to do this quite a bit, what's been like your favorite memory that you've had?
So that's a hard question. All of the memories are our favorite memories. Yes. A very specific memory was a night in Switzerland. We went to a local family's home. We sat at their table. We had fondue. They had games and music and costumes for us to dress up in, and just things that just really brought the kids together to have a fun night. So that's really exciting. Otherwise, just memories are, students buying kilts. They go to Europe and they buy swords, and they sit in the hotel and they play cards with each other. I had a student spend their 13th birthday in Switzerland.
Wow.
Had a student spend his 18th birthday at Stonehenge. So just things that are really unique to those students, for sure, and getting them to kind of get outside of their world. We live in a small town.
Yes, we do.
And this is a really fun and exciting way for me to see them experience literally the world. So
it
it's
makes
very
their
exciting.
world bigger than what
For
they
sure.
have here.
Absolutely.
And man, those memories, your 18th birthday in Stonehenge, who gets to really say stuff like that. So,
for sure.
Yeah, and then seeing those things they bought connects those memories. And wow, what a fun experience. And I'm so glad you've gotten to take a part of it, but you also are willing to invest and let kids go with you and their families and
for sure.
And create those memories together.
Yes.
So, and they come back and share, and they tell all about it, and they look at this picture, so they
always find a McDonald's.
I know they're everywhere, right?
Every single trip, they have to go to the McDonald's, and
all
it's
this
fun.
wonderful food, and you're going to go to nothing against. It's familiar.
They
It's familiar.
experience the McDonald's and other cultures, and it's fun. It's all fun.
They want to connect and see the difference. So,
Yes.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah. So again, if you're interested in the upcoming trip, you have till November 24th. Or if you wanted to know about future plans, then again, just reach out, Emily Kirkpatrick, or call the school and ask for the travel lady, and she will get back with you with any questions that you have. So thank you again for joining us today and sharing your experience with us. For All Things Richland, I'm Jennifer Hawkins.
And we're back here for our final segment of Beyond the Box Score. I'm your host, Mark Mize, joined by my co-host, Chandler Harmon. Chandler, it's been a tough season if you're a head coach, whether it's the college game or now for the Tennessee Titans as well, as we've seen quite a few names go down on the chopping block.
I know. It's already coaching carousel time, and we're not even through the season for half these teams. Titans kind of felt like it was coming at some point. I would have kind of liked to have seen them at least finish the season because they're not going to the playoffs this year, unfortunately. Right. So may give them a chance to right the course, but at the end of the day, you got to keep your first overall pick quarterback happy.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a second. Let's start with the Titans here. As Brian Callahan, of course, was fired after being 4-19 overall part of the way through his second season with the Titans. I really feel like the ownership has not put the coaching staff in a good position to win in terms of personnel. And fortunately, it's going to take a couple years for some of those contracts to roll out and the Titans to have a really good chance, I think, to put something special together. Now, that's not to say there's not room for improvement. I think we would all agree that improvement should be expected. And apparently, ownership wasn't pleased with the improvement that they had seen from Callahan and his staff. Offensive assistant Mike McCoy is your interim head coach. He was the former head coach of they're probably the San Diego Chargers back then, as I say, because it's been a little while since he was the coach over there, but former coach of the Chargers there. This is the thing I found most interesting, though. Now, 6 of the last 8 quarterbacks who were taken number 1 overall in the draft did not have their head coach by the time they started their second season in the NFL. And so kind of the kiss of death for NFL coaches. When you get the number 1 quarterback, you know you probably didn't have a great season because you had the number 1 pick, but basically no one recently who's had the number 1 draft pick has been able to turn it around immediately if they picked a quarterback with that number 1 spot.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that they really talk about too is how fundamentally important that first year is for a quarterback. So already, you know, you're losing your coach that, you know, you were drafted by, you talked to during the whole draft process. So that kind of puts a damper on them as well. But no, I expect the Dolphins might be picking first next year. So it might be, if McDaniel makes it to the end of the season, might be time to see him go too. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
We'll see. So let me ask you this, just off the top of your head, I know you've probably seen a couple reports here and there. Who are kind of the names that you think you'll hear out there when it comes to placing this Titans head coaching position once it actually does go public at the end of the season?
I think that we'll see, you know, easily just someone from a high caliber team. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to poach some of the Eagles coaching staff for their position. The Titans need, quite frankly, what Tennessee's been known for is their run game, with Henry being, and obviously Henry's not there anymore. But I think they need to find a run-heavy coach that can kind of bring back what Tennessee's been known for. But there's, you know, obviously there's a whole season to look at that, but I think that that's going to decide the next few years for them.
Yeah, an up-and-coming offensive coordinator from another already successful team probably feels like the pick. It's probably going to be a guy that we didn't hear his name much in the past. Of course, some of the other names you'll probably hear are, I really think, Bill Belichick, even though I think that would be the wrong pick. I think he's going to be a one-and-done in Chapel Hill. No one's happy there right now. And so I feel like he's probably not going to last another season in the college ranks, and I don't think he's done yet. And so that might be a chance for them to bring in an older guy like him, or maybe John Gruden if he's willing. You know, he just won his lawsuit against the NFL, and so he might now feel vindicated in order to, you know, approach the NFL coaching ranks again. So, you know, there might even be, at this point, you almost need someone to just bridge the gap until you can turn over this roster. And so I think that you probably want a young name, and that's probably what you're going to get. But having a coach come in 2 or 3 years and just get the program turned back in the right direction with the new stadium, with the excitement around the team, just kind of building that back up, I don't think that that would be a bad choice either.
All right, I agree. I mean, the Titans aren't going anywhere anytime soon unless they really hit big on these drafts. So having someone to kind of bridge that gap in this, you know, rebuild phase that they've entered over the past few years. One little side note, talking about all these coaching changes, Vrabel, who left the Titans, doing extremely well in the Patriots, almost makes you wonder, maybe they shouldn't have fired him in the first place. But
I don't think they should have.
And now,
but I also don't think they should have made the personnel decisions they did either. But we could talk about that for 30, 45 minutes. Just looking at some of the other coaches in the college ranks so far this year, James Franklin, Trent Dilfer, Trent Bray, Sam Pittman, Mike Gundy, Deshaun Foster, and Brent Pry are all out of a job in the college ranks there. James Franklin, Trent Dilfer, and Trent Bray, all 3 saw their names called this week. And so honestly, it's just been such a tough season. And the craziest part is a couple of those names in Franklin, and I would say probably Foster for UCLA, came into the season not really that much even on the hot seat. And yet you see just a couple key losses and in embarrassing fashion suddenly can change the dynamic of your future as a college coach.
Absolutely. And Franklin, like you said, not a whole lot of pressure on him on being on the hot seat. Did really decent, last season. Kind of just a whole 180 this season for them, not seeming to be able to figure out where they stand as a team, losing matchups that, quite frankly, they really shouldn't have lost.
Well, they lost to two of the worst four teams in the Big Ten. And really, when you had real expectations of being a playoff team, and quite frankly, they felt a national championship team, that's just something you can't do. And so looking at some of the big matchups we had this past week, the Red River rivalry, I think we found out what the recipe for success is for the Longhorns, and it's them finally being the underdog because, they came in number 1 overall, and now Texas goes in, beats number 6 Oklahoma 23-6. I was surprised to see John Mateer play, but of course he ended up throwing 3 interceptions, a career high for him there. And really, Texas dominated from start to finish.
Absolutely. It seems like Arch has started to figure out a little bit more of his, who he wants to be as a player. I still believe that Texas has their guy in him being their leader, but definitely was a good matchup to see them kind of get some things corrected and ultimately win a game.
Then looking at what I think most people found the most surprising result of the week was number 7 Indiana winning in the Autzen Zoo. They won at Oregon 30-20 there. I'll tell you, if that was in Indiana, I wouldn't have felt too bad about picking them, but Oregon, I think, is one of the top 10 hardest places to play in college football. And to go in there with a red-hot Oregon team and to basically say, hey, there's no reason we don't feel like we're competing with Ohio State for the Big Ten championship. Indiana has really made their mark on this season.
Absolutely. It's starting to look like, our two best potentially in the college football playoffs are starting to make themselves known. I could see Indiana being a pretty big threat going into the playoffs. Their quarterback has been phenomenal, potentially first overall pick in the draft, some were saying. I was a little shocked that they won by as much as they did, but I had some faith in Indiana, just keeping up with how they've done throughout the season.
Well, I thought they'd be good again this year, but, Curtis Rourke was so good last year at quarterback. And for Mendoza to come in and, quite frankly, be better. I mean, I did not think that they would be able to go to the portal and upgrade at that position. And so just really, really impressed by what Cignetti is doing there for Indiana. I think that is a coach's coach. I think that's a guy who really, you listen to his interviews, he knows what he's talking about. And so really, really impressed with what they've done the last few weeks, just dominating, just absolutely taking Illinois to the woodshed, then going in and winning a tough game at Iowa has one of the best defenses in the Big Ten. And then, of course, going to Oregon and winning there. I mean, right now, they and Ohio State, I think, between them, that's going to be your Big Ten champion. And then finally, number 8 Alabama defeats number 14 Missouri 27-24. I'll tell you, I think that Alabama got Missouri's best game, and they still won in Columbia, Missouri. There's only one thing I will say for Alabama. I think Alabama is currently playing like the best team in the SEC, but they're not putting teams away. Mm-hmm. They were significantly better than Missouri, just like they were significantly better than Vanderbilt the week before, and for at least one half of football versus Georgia the week before. But all 3 weeks, what did you see? Alabama being the significantly better team on the field, and they can't deliver the knockout blow. All 3 times, those teams had a chance to win a game in which I think start to finish, Alabama was by far the better team on the field.
Absolutely. And, this Saturday, I'm a little optimistic that maybe we'll get a chance to pull off a win for Tennessee. But Alabama's been offensively a great team. I think that they really have. We talked about previously that I think they put a lot together finally. I think the new coach is, obviously had a season under his belt now. I think he's figuring it all out. But defensively, there's some work to be done. I mean, if you can't put a team away and you give them hope going into that, at some point that's going to catch up to you.
We know what their problem is. If you talk about between the 20 and the 20, Alabama may be the best offense in all of college football. But they are settling for field goals week in, week out. And, they settled for 4 versus Vanderbilt. They missed a key one at the end of the Missouri game to potentially put it out of reach when they were trying to go up, before then. And like I said, it's been a little surprising, but I think Alabama's got all the talent in the world, and so I'm interested there. Then finally, looking at a couple games this week, number 10 LSU at number 17 Vanderbilt. It's a sellout in Nashville. Not hard to do when you only have about 40,000 people that can fit in that stadium, but What are your thoughts on that one? That's one that I think is really hard to handicap.
I think it's going to be, who comes in the most prepared. I personally think Vanderbilt's got a shot, mainly just because I don't want to pick against the Tennessee team. But I think that we've seen them do really good against teams that, quite frankly, are better than LSU. I think LSU's figured it out now, but earlier on in the season, they were struggling a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if LSU ends up having some struggles at Vanderbilt.
Well, I will say Nussmeier has a core injury that, they weren't talking about early in the season. You could tell he didn't look right. Finally, they admitted it. And at this point, I don't think it's going to get much better. I think he's just going to have to play through it, and he really hasn't looked like himself and the potential top 10 pick that he's projected to be there. And so, they've got some weapons. The defense is much improved. I think LSU's best game beats Vanderbilt, but I don't know if LSU is their best version of themselves right now. The game I found most interesting was number 5 Ole Miss at number 9 Georgia. Georgia is a 7.5-point favorite in that game. And I don't know if you know this, but 7.5 points is a lot for a point spread with an Ole Miss team that I think has looked really good this year. I know that they just barely beat Washington State after being heavy favorites there, so didn't look great last week. But I kind of suspected Georgia would be the favorite, but I thought it'd be 1.5, 2.5. A 7.5-point spread. What do you think Vegas is seeing that we might not be seeing, Chandler?
I honestly don't know. I think it's almost a slap to the face to Ole Miss, who's, quite frankly, they're a good team. And I think that if anything, Georgia, they've struggled. They lost to Alabama. I don't know if they're the team that everyone thinks they are this year. Almost lost to the Vols, given that was a road game at UT. But I think that Ole Miss is the better team in this matchup. And quite frankly, I'm not seeing what Vegas is seeing on the game.
No, I agree completely. I get it's in Athens. I said the same thing about Alabama versus Georgia, and I was wrong about that. So I'm not going to get caught on that one twice. Watch me be wrong this week. And finally, I wouldn't do it to you. I wouldn't not give you a chance to talk about your Tennessee Vols as they are traveling to number 6, Alabama. Like I said, I think Alabama's the hottest team in the SEC right now. They've had the hardest schedule of any SEC team. And they come out after that initial loss to Florida State looking pretty good. How do you feel about this matchup between the Vols and the Tide?
Not very good. I mean, I love Tennessee, and I always want to see them win. Arguably, this is, no matter who they're taking, this is the biggest game of the year for them.
Right.
Third Saturday in October, a classic game, always great. In the past decade, it's always been Alabama has won the majority. If Aguilar plays the way he played against Georgia, I think they've got a very good shot. But these past few weeks, we have not seen that Georgia game, Aguilar. And so on the road, it's going to be a hard game for them to bring up the upset, honestly.
Well, a great week of college football is coming up once again. And, of course, high school football as well. So remember, Richland will be playing at home versus Summertown in non-region play. Jennifer Hawkins and myself will be broadcasting that game for WKSR on the radio. Then Giles County playing at Jackson Northside, another non-region matchup. It's a long trek, but JP Plant and Chris Bledsoe are head out there, and they will be streaming it on the WKSR Facebook and YouTube. So you can watch that game and hear their commentary as well. But Chandler, it's been a lot of fun, and appreciate you, as always, co-hosting with me.
Absolutely, Mark. And hopefully next week we'll be talking about Tennessee win.
Hey, maybe. But this has been Beyond the Box Score. Thanks to everyone who makes it possible each and every week. Hope you have a great Friday night, a great weekend, and go catch some good football.